Hey everybody, it's Benjamin here at the Santal Fragrance channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Today we're going to be talking about Santal Majusculine from the house of Serge Lutens. Before we jump into it today, why don't you help me out down below? Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and when you hit that notification bell, hit all notifications so you don't miss out on my regular content. Now to the fragrance, we're not going to waste any time. This is going to be a short and sweet video today. This fragrance is beautiful. This is one of the best rose fragrances on the market. There's three main notes to this fragrance. It's not very uberly complex. It smells like it has some complexity to it. There are really nice nuances, but there's three main notes. What you're getting off the top, and this fragrance really doesn't have much of an opening. There's not like there's a citrus that goes away or some aspect to the opening that really changes. There's some dry cocoa off the top, like a dry cocoa powder. This is not your Nutella. This is not your rich, sweet, addictive gourmand. This is more of a dry, almost bittersweet cocoa. It's really nice in the fragrance. Adds a really interesting texture. There's not a lot of fragrances out there that have the dry, almost powdery type of cocoa to the fragrance. Usually they go more on the gourmand side of things if they choose to use, chocolate in a fragrance at all. So it's a non-sweet kind of powdery chocolate smell, and it's really nice. But the real star of the show, the focus of the fragrance, is the damask rose. This damask rose is different from a lot of other roses. Bulgarian rose is used in a lot of fragrance, and Bulgarian rose, if you smell some of the fragrances that really focus on that note, to me Bulgarian rose has a little bit of powderiness, and it's a little bit soft. It has this like really delicate texture to it. Damask rose is a little bit almost sharper in a way. It's a little bit spicier, it's a little bit drier, and it's often used in those Arabian style fragrances and those fragrances that try to capture the feel, the vibe, the intensity of the desert. So this fragrance has a little bit of that spicy nuance, more of a dry, airy rose, and it really adds to, this fragrance seems a little bit dry overall. In the dry down, the sandalwood comes through. It adds a little bit of creaminess, rounds out the drier aspects to this fragrance with the powdery chocolate. With that kind of dry, spicy rose, you kind of get this really nice sandalwood that comes through. The sandalwood to me isn't overtly buttery. I've smelled some beautiful, gorgeous Mysore sandalwoods and some sandalwoods that come off buttery and rich. This is a really nice sandalwood, but it's a little bit more of a creamy sandalwood. It really I think if it was overtly buttery, this fragrance would start to become a little bit more of a gourmand, and I don't think Serge Lutens was intending for this to become a gourmand. This is more of a romantic fragrance, more of I don't want to say it's an everyday fragrance. Serge Lutens certainly has a posh, classy, exclusive vibe to it, in my opinion. This stuff is very seductive and very charming. It's one of the best date night fragrances. We'll talk about that in the compliment factor. But this is a gorgeous fragrance. I just want to put it out there, guys. And when we talk about the price, the price might scare you a little bit away, but this isn't too bad. And if you want a date fragrance, this one is highly recommended. For longevity, I get about 7 hours or so. I know there's people going to be out there and they're going to tell me that they get 5 or 6. This fragrance doesn't project heavily. It's more of a average projecting sip. The sillage is not bad on this fragrance though. It's actually pretty nice. So people are able to detect this fragrance on me and when I walk past them or if I'm close to them. But this fragrance is one of those fragrances that's just not begging for attention. A lot of Serge Lutens do tend to be that way. They're noticeable. They do have a presence, but they're a little bit more reserved, a little bit more austere. Very French, like a lazy French, classy, posh kind of environment, city. So very, very interesting character, very interesting vibe, and I love Serge Lutens for that kind of feel. I feel like, they do French perfumery like nobody else does it. So I love this fragrance. Anyways, this fragrance performance-wise is very respectable. It's not bad, but it's probably going to be a 6 or 7 hour fragrance with more of average projection on you. So it's not, amazing projection, but it's not bad whatsoever. So let's talk about, the compliment factor that I mentioned. Guys, I said that this is one of the best roses out there, and I meant it. This stuff is unisex. If you're a lady, of course, anybody can wear anything, anytime, anywhere. Do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. But this fragrance to me is a seductive fragrance and is a little bit more on the masculine side. It's not very sweet. It's a little bit more dry. It doesn't become powdery, but it almost has that texture to it. And it's a little, even though it's not a particularly woody fragrance, to me, the tone of the fragrance is almost suede and almost woody, but it's certainly sophisticated. And again, the rose is the spotlight of the show. But I do have to say that I think that this leans slightly masculine. A confident lady certainly could pull it off, though, in a beautiful, good way. So, gorgeous juice. This fragrance is one of my special date night fragrances. I don't wear this very often. I save this. I think it's very posh. I think it's very exclusive. I think it's a fragrance that not a lot of people know about, especially where I live. Almost nobody knows about Serge Lutens. Almost nobody's heard about it. And Santal Majusculine is just a fragrance that doesn't get a lot of hype and doesn't get a lot of love. There aren't a lot of rose fragrances that I think men, would be comfortable with wearing. But this is certainly one of them. If you're a guy and you like rose, or maybe your lady likes rose, I think that you can certainly pick this one up. And if you want a tip from, Benjamin here at the Centaur Fragrance Channel, Santal might not seem like the most masculine note, even in this form. A guy can pull this off if you're uber masculine, if you like your strong green fragrances, if you like your animalic fragrances, if you like your Dior Fahrenheits and the like. You might feel like this is not, particularly your flavor. But, it's not sweet. And this fragrance certainly can be pulled off by you. Definitely be ready to sweat, go dancing, go to a party, and definitely notice how this fragrance just becomes magical when your body heats up and you get a little bit of sweat going. To me, rose, if it's the right kind of rose, it can work magic on my skin, and it's done that. And trust me, it's been a crazy good fragrance for dates and dancing and out and about. When you're with somebody, maybe a summer night. I think this fragrance can stand up to a little bit of heat, but it's probably more of a, spring, fall fragrance. I don't think this fragrance has enough legs. I don't think it's really potent enough for the winter, but you certainly could wear it indoors in winter. It would fare very well, especially if you like to bundle spray or spray a lot of juice. So anyways, I just can't say how good I can't say how good this fragrance is. I want to say it more and more. This fragrance is beautiful and it's amazing. And if you've always been scared of getting a rose, this is it. This is gorgeous stuff. Now I gotta tell you about the price. This might scare away some of y'all. If you're into designer fragrances, I'm just gonna say it, and I'm always honest with y'all. Here's a good alternative. Here's something that's gonna save you money. Go for Declaration en Soir Intense from Cartier. I think that fragrance is still available. It's not discontinued. It used to be about $40 or so. It's a very charming rose cardamom scent. It's going to give you a similar vibe to La Nuit de l'Homme, but it's going to be kind of focused on rose. It's its own character. It's a very, very charming, beautiful, gorgeous scent. Definitely worth your money. This stuff, again, has a little bit more of a character to it. I think that this is, again, one of the best masculine roses ever made. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's classy. Even though the bottle from Serge Lutens is kind of simple, I think it's stunning. I think that this is gorgeous. I love this bottle. And you can get a 1.7 ounce on FragranceNet and discounters for about $180 or so. If you pay full retail, it's going to be $120, $130, $140 or so. And they do have a 3.4 ounce bottle, and I think that goes for, you get at discounters, $120, $130-ish. And it probably, retail-wise, but would be approaching the $200 mark. So this is not a cheap fragrance. It's a Serge Lutens. This is one of their stronger concentrations. I think these ones are Eau de Parfum. And they're just beautiful, and they're gorgeous. So if you want something posh, something classy, if you like YSL's, tuxedo and that kind of feel, if you're into that kind of vibe, some of the YSL exclusive fragrances, this is certainly something I think that's worth seeking out. If this sounds good to you, something that's, it's not an overtly complicated fragrance, and I think that's one of the reasons why it comes off so beautifully. It's not, it doesn't have a lot of notes, it doesn't have a lot of exactly complexity, but the nuances and the quality of the notes and the beauty of this fragrance really comes through in a gorgeous way. I'm very happy to have this fragrance in my collection. This is one of the only roses I have in my collection. I have another fragrance. I'll spotlight it, in the future. But this is probably my favorite rose out of my collection, a rose focus fragrance. Gorgeous stuff, beautiful, classy, seductive fragrance. You gotta try this out if you're a fan of rose, as a guy or even a confident lady. I think this one is worth a try. So check out Santal Majusculine. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about this fragrance? Have you tried it? Have you smelled it? Do you own this beauty? What kind of experiences have you had with this one? This has been one of my best date night fragrances that I've ever had and have ever worn. And I definitely suggest this one for a guy, who's maybe 25 or so, maybe upper late 20s, and you got a little bit, starting to get a little bit of money, and you know who you are, and you're a very charming, suave individual. This stuff screams class. But Serge Lutens, one of the best fragrances for smelling classy, I think. So gorgeous fragrance. That's my opinion. Wear what you love, my friends. Rock what you got. And thank y'all so much for being here today. This is the Santal Fragrance Channel. This is Benjamin. That's me. And I'll see y'all next time, everybody. And bye.